Call to the booth. I'm fresh off my Canton trip, man. We talking preseason power rankings, no fly zone preseason power rankings. While I ain't worried about Dak, Carson Wentz, Paul, drop that beat.
We're back with more Call to the Booth. Harrison Sanford, Aqib Talib, a bunch of teams getting into preseason action. Aqib Talib calling a game this weekend, the Rams and the Chargers. We got to talk about that. Got to talk about Dak Prescott. Got to talk about Carson Wentz. Preseason power rankings. No fly zone power rankings. So much is going on in the NFL. We're happy to be here. And I know Aqib was happy to be in Canton, Ohio this past weekend. Hall of Fame weekend. Hopefully somewhere he's at, enshrined with his own bus sooner than later. Aqib, give me your highlights of being in Canton watching the sheriff get his honor and the gold jacket.
Man, Harrison, that shit was nuts, man. That was an experience of a lifetime, man. I don't know how that's my first look. That's my first time going to Canton, period. Now, quick story. All the draft picks, they take a trip to Canton now. They've been doing that ever since, I think my class may have been the first class to do it. But for whatever reason, the Bucs, they wanted to have an alcohol awareness night the day before we went, right? So alcohol awareness, they had a police officer in there, a detective in there with us. You know what I'm saying? All the rookies, they encouraged us to, have a good time, have some drinks, and then boom, we're going to start the awareness part of it. So we kind of, did this test. We did all kind of tests and all kind of stuff. So the walk the line test and all kind of stuff. So they just wanted you to see. Sometimes you think you straight, but you're really not straight, right? So we did that. We had fun. We kind of went out after. I was loaded. Loaded. Woke up to 100 missed calls, 100 texts. My family calling me. Everybody know I'm in the hotel. We was rookies. We still in the hotel. I'm in the hotel KO. My roommate, Dexter Jackson, I don't even really like to say his name, but left me in the room, Harrison. Everybody on the flight but Lead. So they went to the Hall of Fame, no Lead. Bucs get off the plane with no first round pick, man. Crazy. So I missed my trip to Canton my rookie year. It's the first time I went to Canton, man. And Harrison, nuts, bro. The energy, I was in awe the whole time, man. So First of all, you in the ceremony just looking up at the stage. I see Warren Moon. I couldn't stop looking at Warren Moon. It seems like every time I look at the stage, I look right at Warren Moon ass, right? So I see Warren Moon, man. Irvin stumble on a little late. He climb up in there, sap up there. It's just crazy, bro. It's Emmitt Smith. It's so many, just to be around all them greats, man. Then the fans out there, the fans show you love. It was second to none, man. It was second to none. The party after, oh my God, Peyton party was crazy after. Seemed like everybody migrated to Peyton party. It was crazy, Harrison, man. The time of my life, man. I say this. If I would've went to that kind of event before I retired, that shit would have made me play 2 more years, man. I would have found a way. I would have found 2 more years. If I had went to an event like that before I retired, man. Put it like that.
Ooh, was it the sight of the gold jackets? And you could always unretire.
Nah, I'm too tired now. Wait, it's gonna be too hard to get this 15 pounds off me now. I'm out of there now. But it was just the atmosphere, man. Just that team up there, all them guys had them gold jackets on, man. I always had Hall of Fame dreams, but after going and being around, rubbing shoulders, smoking some cigars, and having a few drinks with them guys, it took it to a whole nother level, man. So it just was super motivating, super inspiring.
I'm surprised that somebody, correct me, you grew up in Cleveland though, right? For a little bit before you moved to Texas? Yeah, so but Cleveland's not too far from Canton.
Yeah, but when I was in Cleveland, I was that young. I didn't even know what the Hall of Fame was at that point, man. I think I kind of learned about the Hall of Fame, all that, probably like when I got to Texas. And something happened about, you closer to the Cowboys, you hear Hall of Fame. And then, I asked my brother, what about the Hall of Fame? And I remember him telling me, like, the Hall of Fame is this. It's like, that's the best team. That's your last trophy you ever gonna get type deal. I remember my brother explaining that to me, but I was older then, man. I used to watch football. I used to play it way more than I watched it when I was younger. So when my Cleveland days was not worried about acting in the Hall of Fame at all.
For sure. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, there's a guy by the name of Quentin Nelson, offensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts. He's had a heck of a start to his NFL
Right.
season. Pro Bowls already. He's been tremendous. But him and Carson Wentz recently had this. They have both had foot surgery. It looks like they're both 5 to 12 weeks out for the Indianapolis Colts here as we shift to more present day football. Nelson's optimistic he can return for week 1. It's his third surgery this offseason. And obviously the bigger name is Carson Wentz here, right? Because he moved from Philadelphia Eagles over to Indianapolis. They have big hopes for him. When you heard the news and how it could impact their season, remember 5 to 12 weeks for Carson Wentz. Quentin Nelson optimistic he could start week 1, but not necessarily guaranteed. And you look at their first 6 games. Home against the Seahawks, home against the Rams, at divisional rival Tennessee Titans, at the Miami Dolphins, at the Baltimore Ravens before they finally play the Houston Texans, and nobody knows what the Houston Texans are going to look like. Right. That is not an encouraging schedule and not encouraging injury news when you think about a team that's hoping to get past a first round like they did last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely, Harrison. Terrible news out in Indianapolis, man. With that start, and then, I mean, it's your quarterback. So you never want to hear your quarterback down, period. You never want to hear your best O-lineman down, period. But I guess you look at the glass half full situation, man. It's Nelson feel like he'll be back for the start. You missing that camaraderie, but that's the same group. They've been together, so he'll be able to hop back in. They'll still be on the same page as far as communicating and everything like that. But Carson, man, it's not looking like he's gonna be there for the beginning of the year. With that tougher schedule, man, it could get ugly early. And when things get ugly early, man, that's problems for the locker room, man. So you never want to start off 1-4, 1-5. Man, guys hang it up for the rest of the season. They feel like they don't have no chance. So that's bad news. That's bad news from Indianapolis, man. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say, Harrison. That's the worst news they can get, man.
Yeah, for sure. And so if you don't know what else to say, what would you do with your money potentially? Let's get into some betting lines real quick as some things that might have adjusted because of this. So I'm going to ask you to place that bet, and you can say yes or no.
Right.
Indianapolis Colts, win total, 8.5 over. Place that bet, yes or no?
No, I think they're going to start off bad. I think they're going to start off with a quick 4 losses, a 1-4 type of situation with no Carson. So don't place that bet, man. They're going to be right around 7 or 8 now.
And then one of the things, as I've looked over this NFL schedule and I was looking at one of your former teams, the Broncos, you know how the NFL goes. When you have a good season, your schedule is harder than vice versa. So with them being a team, I believe they made the playoff. They made the playoffs last year. I forget who actually won that division. But with them being in the playoffs last year, you knew their schedule was going to be harder. Yeah, I think the Titans might have won that division. With that being said, odds to win the AFC South, which is still a decent bet. It's plus 175. So if you think about it, the Jaguars, obviously they have a whole new thing going on. We don't know what's going on with the Houston Texans. It seems as if, at least, it's only really the Houston Texans. And that game that they're going to play at first is at Tennessee in week 3. That's at Tennessee. So they can still get a home game against Tennessee with Carson Wentz at quarterback. At plus 175, would you place the bet for them to win the AFC South?
No. The Titans look too strong, man. They look, training camp vibes been good, man. They talking about how good their defense looking in training camp, and we know what that offense going to do. You add Julio, too many stars in the building over there, man, and they got a hard-working, straight-to-the-point coach, man. So Titans going to dominate. Titans going to dominate that AFC South for a minute, man. Don't place that bet.
And then the odds are a little bit more favorable for them to still make the playoffs at minus 110. Would you place that one?
Don't place that bet. No. No, you starting the season off with no starting quarterback. Your best O-lineman is down. He had an injury-prone off-season, 3 surgeries. That's bad juju going into the season, man. I'm not betting on that team going to the playoffs when we starting like that.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's an interesting one because, again, that division is weak, and, there's a little uncertainty. Maybe I would have placed that bet, but then again,
To go to the
Maybe I'm
playoffs,
not
you
just-
like
may-
that?
Maybe I'm just not a good bettor.
It's only one. It's only one team. The AFC. It's only one team that's gonna go from the AFC South. They're not gonna have a wild card from the AFC South. You know what I'm saying? The wild card gonna come from the AFC West and the North. The wild card gonna come from those guys. So it's gonna be tough for them. If they don't win the division, they probably not gonna go to playoffs. And you got to beat Tennessee to win the division. So I don't like it.
Fair points. And actually, with that being said, while most teams are getting into preseason action this weekend, why don't we give a close or a preview, at least, of what your power rankings are going into the preseason? Who you got at number 5?
I got the Browns. I put the Browns at number 5. They gave the Chiefs run for their money in the playoffs, man, and they got what it takes, man. They rebuilt that defense. They brought in a bunch of guys who know that system, a bunch of guys who can fly around and fit that defense. So I expect their defense to be a lot tougher this year. I expect that offense to be even better with Odell back. I got the Browns at number 5.
Speaking of Odell, and for those who are watching, listening, we're going to do something very special with fantasy football season here coming up in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, I do have some fantasy questions for each of these teams that you're going to listen to your power rankings. And since you mentioned Odell, is he a wide receiver 1, 2, or a flex? Obviously coming off the injury, run-heavy offense, but he's still Odell Beckham Jr. If you were drafting and you saw Odell Beckham Jr., would you want him to be your first wide receiver, your wide receiver 2, or would you feel more comfortable if he was in your flex?
I have him as my wide receiver 2, just because they so run heavy, man. They got 2 backs. They throw the ball to their backs. They give them screens. They really get their running backs involved in that offense. So I give him a wide receiver 2. He's still gonna put his numbers up. He might not. It's gonna be games where they double him and they make Landry go to work. They make the other guys go to work, and they so run heavy. For that reason, I'll make him my number 2 because you ain't gonna be able to stop him. He's still gonna put his numbers up.
For sure, and he's definitely going to have those upside weeks. I remember he went absolutely berserk in Dallas last year. That was he had a hell of a game. All right, who's your team number 4?
Team number 4, I got the Buffalo Bills at number 4. They in the AFC. They right there. They one of the teams who right there competing with the Chiefs to get to that Super Bowl, man. So just like they didn't play as good in the AFC Championship, but they right there, man. That's if they play the Chiefs a couple more times, they watch that Bucs tape and see how to really stop them guys or try to stop them guys on defense, man. That'd be better. But I think they'd be better against the Chiefs this year. They're my number 4 team.
Somebody affiliated with this podcast made a lot of money last year as it relates to Stephon Diggs because he led the NFL in receiving yards.
Okay, Paul.
As it pertains to Stephon Diggs, though, from a fantasy perspective, this past offseason they added one of our former guests, Emmanuel Sanders. Cole Beasley is still there, even though, he has his own thoughts about protecting himself against COVID-19, but that's a story for another day. And Gabriel Davis is going to another developmental year. So it looks like a pretty good wide receiver room for Josh Allen, who's improving as a quarterback and got solidified with that big payday just a couple days ago. Is Stephon Diggs, to you, from a fantasy perspective, is he a top 5? Is he a first round, better yet? Is he a first round selection?
Definitely. First round pick. If you're looking for a wide out and Diggs on the list, he definitely could be your first round pick, man. He got a great quarterback. They gonna force feed him the ball. He gonna have the targets. He gonna have the targets. He gonna have the touchdowns. They look for him in the red zone, man. And his numbers gonna match what they did last year. If he stay healthy, his numbers will be the same. So he definitely a receiver 1 for me.
So you don't see targets going away because of those other guys. You more see it as it's easier to get him the ball because of those other guys, I'm assuming.
Them other guys going to keep you more honest. They're going to keep you more honest as far as leaning over him with that safety. You know what I'm saying? Once he start working Emmanuel a little bit and Cole Beasley, they're going to have to play it honest, go to zone. And once they go to zone, that's when Stephon Diggs will take over. When they playing man, it's going to be like Stephon Diggs double. So that's when the other guy's going to really eat. But them other guys going to make you get out of that, man, and play zone. And that's where Diggs will really come to life.
I'm going to jump to another pass catcher, but this time at the tight end position because you have the Green Bay Packers at number 3. Robert Tonyan last year led all tight ends with 11 TDs. Sir. Aaron Rodgers is back. Obviously, Devontae Adams is there. Aaron Rodgers made sure they brought in Randall Cobb. Is Robert Tonyan, with his 11 TDs last year, is he a real tight? I mean, can we expect that again, or was that just like a one-time thing? Or how do you anticipate Robert Tonyan being from a fantasy perspective? Because 11 touchdowns is a lot, especially when you have a guy like Devontae Adams in that offense, and obviously Aaron Jones is there in the backfield.
It definitely is, and that's the reason I think he is a tight end one, just because you got Aaron Jones to deal with, you got Devontae Adams to deal with, now you got Cobb to deal with in the slot. He's kind of the guy who they kind of sleep on, man. They sleep on him, and he earned that trust from Aaron Rodgers last year. And I think them numbers, he going to be double-digit touchdowns again. He going to be double-digit touchdowns and more yards this year because you actually earned that trust from Aaron Rodgers. So now he know he can count on you.
Okay, and at number 2, somebody who people counted on and they couldn't count on him last year. I mean, this guy was first-round draft pick last year in a lot of drafts, and he completely failed fantasy football owners. I don't necessarily want to say he failed the Kansas City Chiefs, who are in at number 2 in your power rankings. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Would you trust him as an RB1 this season?
I don't know about
RB1. I mean, better offensive line in Kansas City this year too.
But I don't know about RB1, man. Just because they got good backs, they kind of, they got a lot of backs. They play their backs too, man. Andy Reid here, if somebody get in there and they hot, Andy Reid to keep them in there, man. So they got backs who played in the playoffs, who could get some things done. So he might split time with guys, and also they just got so many ways to beat you, man. The Chiefs got so many different ways they can beat you. I don't know if they're a pass first offense, so I don't know if I want my RB1 to be from a pass first offense, especially like the Chiefs. So they score a lot of points, man. Their running backs definitely involved. But, man, I don't know if I want my starting running back to be on that offense.
Hear that. That Mecole Hardman stock is going to go up this year, especially with Sammy Watkins gone. He's going to step up big time, it would seem. All right, number 1, I think we all understand who the number 1 team is. Tampa Bay Bucks. They bring back all starters on both sides of the ball. They are going to be absolutely dangerous, and I think it's fair to say they're the most talented roster in totality in the NFL. But from a fantasy perspective, it makes it really hard because they got stud wide receivers, they got stud tight ends, they got 2 to 3 running backs that they trust out the backfield. Can you, from a fantasy perspective, can you trust anybody in your first 2 picks from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Your first 2 picks.
People. You could trust 2 people. You could trust Tom Brady, because I think Tom Brady, last year they kind of had to find each other rhythm and kind of get it going, and they ended the season with it going. And guys were still banged up. I think they're going to come in fresh. They're going to come in healthy. They got that mojo going. They got that swag going. They know how they want to play with each other. Tom going to come out and go crazy this year with this offense. I think Tom going to have a great season from the start. While all the guys healthy, he going to put up a bunch of numbers. Of course, injuries going to come around. Hopefully by the end of the year, they all be healthy, man, and he can finish that good year. But I think it's going to be a major one for Tom. And Mike Evans. You always could trust Mike Evans, man. He get 1,000 yards every year. He scored a bunch of touchdowns last year. Tom going to look for him in the red zone. Tom going to throw deep balls to him, man, in that Bruce Arians offense. So I'm going to count on Mike. I'll take Mike as a wide receiver 1, and I count on Tom Brady for them first 2 rounds.
Okay, and then so let's stick in the state of Florida, and I'm excited to talk to you about this one. Xavier Howard, he threatened to hold out, not report to camp with the Miami Dolphins, and Brian Flores there as the head coach had a contract dispute, wanted to be compensated as a top DB in the NFL. Last year, you awarded him with your no-fly zone award as the best DB in the NFL based on performance from last season. So he finally came to a deal. There's a whole bunch of stipulations in his contract that allow him to get upwards, if he hits all of them, $16.2 million, which would make him the highest paid corner in the NFL. Next year in 2022, he gets $12 million if he's healthy, $6 million regardless of health, guaranteed for 2022. And the biggest thing that comes from this whole debate or the negotiations that he was having from the Miami Dolphins, it seems as if there's an understanding that the Miami Dolphins will restructure his deal commensurate to market value in 2022 if things happen where maybe another guy like maybe Stephon Gilmore and Jalen Ramsey, somehow their contracts have worked out to the point where they're making a new dollar figure and Xavier Howard wants to be compensated in their level. I'm wondering though, like that's great for Xavier. We never hate on anybody making their chicken. That's a rule. That's great for Xavier. But from the Miami Dolphins perspective, I wonder, do you think they're setting a bad precedent by honoring that type of deal?
If you got a cornerstone guy like that, man, it's not a lot of guys who gonna come follow around Tyreek, then go follow around Diggs, then go follow around. It's not a lot of guys who can do that. It's not a lot of guys who will even accept the challenge to do that, right? So when you got a guy who's willing to do that and he's doing it at a high level, man, you wanna keep him around. And I think the Dolphins did the smart thing, man. They said, all right, we restructured this deal for 2021. Long as you healthy and you in the game, you make it to the Pro Bowl. Basically, long as you in the game and you healthy and you playing like you played last year, boom, you'll make $16 million. You'll be the highest paid corner in the league. And then if you do that, then next year if anybody else do their deals, we'll always make sure you top in the league as long as your play say that. So I feel like that's a great win by the Dolphins, man. Y'all pretty much got a guy who want to be there. That's almost like year to year. If he playing good, we'll pay him. And the moment he ain't playing good, they don't really got to pay him, man. So I think the organization did a good job how they handled it.
But what if, okay, let's if we push it forward. Let's say Mike Gesicki has a 12 touchdown season at tight end position. Let's say Myles Gaskin has an 18 touchdown season at running back. Right. Now they say, hey, you paid Xavier Howard like the top DB, pay me like the top running back. I performed like it. Pay me like the top tight end. I performed like it.
That's where you got to pick and choose. So do I want the top tight end? You know what I'm saying? Or do I want the top cornerback? Now, I feel like that top tight end, half the stuff that Gesicki do, we could plug any tight end in there. And if the scheme is there and he's running wide open in the middle of the field, any tight end, I could go play tight end and catch them balls in the middle of the field. Some of them, he going up, he making plays, and he making up for the quarterback. But the shit that Xavier Howard is doing, you put another corner out there and ask him to do what he's doing, it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's different tone poles, man. You know what I'm saying? It's what you want. It's what you paying for. You talking about job description. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Xavier Howard's job description is going to be right after the quarterbacks. Tua, he got the hardest job. Right after him is Xavier Howard. So they not the same.
Fair enough. Fair point. All right. Speaking of Xavier Howard, can you go through quickly your no-fly zone preseason power rankings?
My preseason power rankings, I no order in particular, man. It's just my 5 secondaries who I think gonna have it together this year, and as long as they stay healthy, they gonna shut a lot of people down, man. I got the Rams on the list, I got the Giants on the list, I got my Ravens on the list, I got my Patriots on the list, and I definitely got Xavier Howard and them Dolphins on the list, man. So this is my 5, no particular order, but I think starting out, while both teams is healthy, while all those guys is healthy, them would be the top 5 secondaries in the league.
Yeah, well, looking forward to updating that throughout the course of the season as we go week to week when the NFL season really, really, really turns up. All right, before we get out of here, and I know you're going to be, I assume you'll be in LA this weekend because you're doing the Chargers and Rams game.
Definitely.
We saw that fight break out between the Rams and Cowboys recently in practice. It was trending on social media for a while. I wonder if you have a favorite training camp fight memory.
Oh, probably my favorite one. I had a few. But my favorite one, probably I was in New England and we had a joint practice with the Bucs. So, that's my former team was coming. And Bill was just kind of like, he had that whistle, wave that whistle. Like, give his whole speech about being competitive, this. And last thing, I ain't tolerating no fights. If you fight, I'm sending your ass to the shower. Simple as that. Boom. So we get out there, start practice off with special teams. And then, Bill, he wanted to get cracking key, go get at the gunner. Because, they came, one time New England came to the Bucs before I played for them, and I had that shit spicy in there, Harrison. I'm talking about I had it cranked up, right? That's how I end up on the Patriots, because Bill seen that shit. So, he threw me in on special teams, kid, get in there. I done hemmed the gunner up. He started grabbing my face mask, so he started grabbing my face mask. Shit, I grabbed his, slung him to the whole people. I dogged him out real quick. It was a little scuffle, right? I kind of came out of it. Bill was in the back with a little smirk on his face like that. He didn't say shit to me. He just had a little smirk on his face like, yeah, kid, you the only one who could do that, kid. Don't even worry about it. So that probably was my favorite one, man. I thought I was on my way to the showers. I just knew I was to the showers. But Bill let me ride, man. He let me finish practice, baby. You know what I'm saying? It was my former team, and then it was just, Bill kind of sicked me on them people, man, so I liked it.
There you go. You got fight privileges from Bill Belichick. That definitely should qualify as a training camp favorite memory. All right, real quick, as we spoke about the Cowboys, we see Dak Prescott with the shoulder strain. It comes out from Jay Glazer that it's more of a baseball-related injury, as the Cowboys have consulted the Texas Rangers. Just give me your quick thoughts on that.
From what I hear, it ain't nothing to worry about, man. So, I got my ear to the Cowboys, man. I'm in the same camp as Dak. From what I hear, it's nothing major. He gonna be just fine for week 1, and he's still handling business while he over there, man. So stuff happen. Hey, stuff happen. It's football, but as long as it ain't too serious, he gonna be there.
For sure. All right, and so as I alluded to, Rams were practicing against the Cowboys, and the Rams are taking on the Chargers this weekend. You'll be there with Mina Kimes doing the preseason game as you're getting ready for the second year of stint in the booth. If you could just give me some things that you're looking for when you're watching that game or watching those two teams in particular this season, then we'll get out of here.
For this preseason, though, so I would be looking forward to seeing Matt Stafford run his offense, but Sean McVay, he don't really play as starters in the preseason, so we probably won't see no Matt Stafford. But I want to see their vibe, man. I want to see the confidence. I want to see how they feeling. Like, when you get around the team, I'm probably gonna go to a couple of training camp practices and stuff like that. So I just want to see, I want to see if they got that championship kind of vibe like they had when I was there. You could feel that shit. You could feel the confidence coming off all the guys, man. So I want to definitely check that vibe. I want to see Raheem Morris and how he handling the defense. Their defense, he's the head coach, defensive coordinator, he's the head coach at the Chargers right now. So I want to see the difference in the defense, man. Is he kind of running the same stuff? Is he switching it up, putting his own sauce on it? I mean, because really, that defense was so good last year, you don't really got to mix it up. And I talked to Jalen, and Jalen said they ain't switched too much stuff up, but he did say he put his own kind of swag, own little sauce on it. So I'm interested to see how they running that defense. And the last thing from the Rams, I want to see Tutu, man. I want to see that little draft pick. This guy supposed to be fast, Harrison. I'm talking about he supposed to be fast, right? So Matt Stafford got a big arm, man. And I want to see him run. I want to see him run out this play actions. I want to see him post corner, run across routes. I want to see how fast he really is, man. So, and then from the Chargers side, I definitely want to see their defense. They got Derwin back. My boy Chris out there. They healthy this year. So I definitely portray that little Davis out that corner they got over there, big guy. I want to see their secondary, how they vibe. I want to see their defense, how they play. I want to see that new vamp O-line they got too. I want to see how I do for the run game for them, man. See their continuity. And also, I want to see Joshua Palmer. They draft pick, man. This guy is a deep ball specialist. Now they got Mike Williams on one side, deep ball specialist. Joshua Palmer on the other side, deep ball specialist. Keenan Allen still working that middle, man. So with that O-line, with that wide out, I want to see how good this offense is going to be from the Chargers, man. I want to see if it's as good as it look on paper.
If Josh Palmer turns out to be a baller, for sure that is going to be one of my favorite teams to use in Madden because, as you mentioned, Derwin James is back. Obviously, Joey Bosa is there. So the defensive, and Chris, as you mentioned, is there. Defensive side of the ball is good. Offensively, they're good, and I love Justin Herbert. I love what he did for my fantasy team last year. So they'll probably be one of my go-to teams in Madden. Speaking of which, next week, Brandon Gowden, the voice of Madden, will be joining us here on Call to the Booth as we get ready for the NFL season and the release of Madden 2022. It's going to be a fun interview, so make sure you tune into that. But in terms of this episode, that's all we got. We out.